Alright, I want to explain this topic. This particular topic is simple interest. When we're talking about simple interest, it's something that one does on daily basis, especially if you are doing transaction with banks. Doing transaction in the sense that there is always a certain money you put in the bank. That money, in mathematical terms, and based on this particular topic, is called principal. We call it principal. The money that you have in the bank is called principal. Or the money that you invest in the bank, or something that is given to you by the bank. It's all called principal. Though either you take loan from the bank or you have your savings in the bank. So we have what you call principal. And on that principal, for example, now let's assume that you save the money in the bank. As long as you still have your money in the bank, once it stays there for a longer period. Some bank will say, if you have your money here for 1 month, some may say 1 year, some may say 2 years, and like that. So of all the time that you have the money saved in the bank, there is always an increment on that money. On the money you save in the bank, there is always increment that will be adding to the money, that will be making it to increase. That increment is called interest. It is called interest. So there will be interest on the money you have in the bank. And that interest, how do we get the interest? How do we know that, okay, this money will increase by so percent? How do we calculate it? The rate, the move or the speed at which that your principal will increase in the bank, what we use what you call rate. So they will tell you by so or with so rate. Rate is a number. They may say, okay, if you leave your money in the bank for 1 month, the increase that will come on it after that 1 month is, they may say 1%. That is 1% of your principal. 1% of your principal. They will say 1% of your principal. They may say, okay, if you leave it for 2 years without touching the principal, the money you save in the bank, without touching it at all, the increase on it, they may say it is 5%. That means the rate at which this principal will attract interest is this percent. Now let's take this example now. Example now. For example, Malam Ibrahim saves or let's use it in question form now. If Malam Ibrahim saves 5,000 naira in the bank for 2 years, at 3%. Okay, if Malam Ibrahim said 5,000 naira in the bank, thank you for the correction, in the bank, 5,000 naira in the bank for 2 years at 3%, at the rate of 3%. Now find the simple interest. Now in finding simple interest, everything in mathematics has formula. And finding simple interest, it has its own formula. So if you want to find simple interest, there is a formula for it. Principal times rate times time all over 100. We just write it like this. P times R times T all over 100. So all the items given to you, your principal, the amount is saved there, which is 5,000 naira, times what rate? At what rate? 3% times for how long? Which is time, which is 2 years, all over 100. Then this will cancel this will cancel this. Then once you have done that, we are left with 50 times 3 times 2. So 5 times 3, 15, 15 times 2 is 30, and then you add the 0. So the simple interest will be 300 naira. So that means, what it means is, if the malam could leave the money in the bank for 2 years, and the bank says, if you leave your money for in the bank for that period of time, the interest that will come on it at 3% now. At 3%, that interest will be 300 naira. Let's now assume that we want to find, okay, how much will the malam ask in the bank at the end of 3 years. It is called amount. So if they ask us that, okay, find the amount. So if you are to find the amount, it will just be interest plus principal. So our interest is 300 now, and then the principal is 5,000. So the amount of money that the malam we have in the bank will be 5,300 naira. Is that taken? So that is how to find simple interest. Don't forget the elements, the items that are inside the simple interest. The principal, the interest, the rate, and how the example goes.